Navigating the Labyrinth of Love, a Stoic guide to recognizing unwise patterns in women. Have you ever felt adrift in a sea of perplexing behaviors, observing patterns in certain women that leave you questioning their judgment, decisions, or outlook on life? It's a universal experience. This feeling of disconnect, the subtle realization that someone's approach to life clashes with your own values and aspirations. But before you dismiss it as mere incompatibility, consider this. Understanding these signals isn't about casting blame or pointing fingers. It's about self-preservation, about safeguarding your mental well-being, steering clear of unnecessary drama, and making informed choices when it comes to the most intimate aspects of your life, your relationships. In the realm of human connection, clarity is paramount. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism can act as a compass guiding you toward a deeper understanding of potentially detrimental relationship dynamics. Just as a ship needs a skilled navigator to avoid treacherous rocks, your love life requires mindful awareness to steer clear of emotionally turbulent waters. By learning to recognize specific behaviors and patterns, you can proactively protect your peace of mind and cultivate relationships that foster growth, understanding, and lasting happiness. This essay, interwoven with insights gleaned from a captivating video and enriched with original analysis and Stoic philosophy, serves as a roadmap for navigating the often complex terrain of romantic relationships. Prepare to embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and ultimately, the cultivation of a more fulfilling and meaningful love life. By the end of this exploration, you'll possess a clearer perspective that has the potential to fundamentally alter the way you approach relationships, fostering a more discerning and Stoic approach to love. The foundation, Stoicism and the pursuit of virtue. Before delving into the specific signs of potentially problematic relationship patterns, it's essential to establish a grounding in Stoic philosophy. Stoicism, far from being a philosophy of cold detachment, is a practical guide to living a virtuous and fulfilling life. It emphasizes the importance of reason, self-control, and acceptance of what we cannot change. Stoic thinkers like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus offer invaluable insights into navigating the complexities of human relationships. At its core, Stoicism teaches us that our happiness and well-being depend not on external circumstances, but on our internal state, our thoughts, judgments, and actions. This principle is particularly relevant when it comes to choosing and maintaining relationships. A Stoic approach encourages us to seek out partners who embody virtue, wisdom, and emotional stability, rather than being swayed by superficial qualities or fleeting emotions. Furthermore, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and personal responsibility. Before evaluating others, we must first examine our own flaws and shortcomings. Only then can we approach relationships with a clear and objective perspective. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we can navigate the challenges of love with greater resilience, wisdom, and emotional clarity. It's about recognizing that true love is not about finding the perfect person, but about cultivating a strong and virtuous connection with someone who shares your values and is committed to personal growth. This foundation in Stoic principles will serve as a lens through which we examine the 6 signs of potentially unwise relationship patterns in women, allowing us to approach the topic with both empathy and discernment. Sign 1. Thriving on drama. The addiction to chaos. Imagine this. You've met someone new, perhaps in an unexpected setting. Initially, everything feels idyllic. She's captivating, engaging, and seems to bring a spark of excitement into your life. But as time passes, a subtle unease begins to creep in. You notice a pattern, a constant cycle of emotional highs and lows, a propensity for conflict that seems disproportionate to the situation at hand. One moment, everything is harmonious. The next, you're embroiled in a heated argument over something seemingly insignificant, like a delayed text message or a misinterpreted comment. You find yourself perpetually walking on eggshells, anticipating the next emotional eruption. The video highlights the insidious nature of this drama queen archetype, and it resonates deeply with many experiences in life. The initial excitement, fueled by the emotional roller coaster, can be intoxicating. However, this type of relationship quickly becomes exhausting and unsustainable. But why does this happen? Why do some people seem to gravitate towards chaos and conflict? The answer often lies in a deep-seated need for attention and validation. For some, drama serves as a form of emotional stimulation, a way to feel alive and relevant. As the video suggests, these individuals may be accustomed to chaos and find peace unsettling. If no one is talking about them, something is wrong with their minds because they're used to chaos and now they find peace unsettling. They may subconsciously create conflict to elicit a reaction from others, to prove their own importance, or to avoid confronting their own internal anxieties. This behavior can be incredibly damaging to a relationship, creating a climate of instability and mistrust. It drains the emotional energy of both partners, leaving them feeling depleted and resentful. A Stoic perspective offers a powerful antidote to this chaotic dynamic. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, wisely observed, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today." This quote underscores the importance of focusing on the present moment and making conscious choices about the people we associate with. In the context of relationships, it reminds us that our present decisions, particularly regarding the people we choose to spend our time with, will significantly impact our future happiness and well-being. A wise individual, guided by Stoic principles, understands that a healthy relationship should be a source of peace, not turmoil. They actively seek partners who value stability, communication, and mutual respect. Instead of being drawn to the allure of drama, they prioritize tranquility and cultivate a relationship built on a foundation of trust and understanding. As Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, eloquently stated, "The mind, not external circumstances, is within your control." This powerful affirmation reminds us that we have the ability to choose our reactions to external events, including the behavior of our partners. If you find yourself caught in a cycle of drama and conflict, it's crucial to pause and reflect on your own role in the dynamic. Are you enabling the behavior by engaging in arguments or trying to fix your partner? A Stoic approach encourages you to set healthy boundaries, to communicate your needs clearly and assertively, and to prioritize your own well-being. It may even mean recognizing that the relationship is ultimately unsustainable and choosing to move on. It means understanding that the weight of power is not to become furious about trivial things, but to be tranquil. The drama queen archetype is not simply a caricature. It represents a real and potentially destructive pattern in relationships. It's crucial to approach this topic with empathy, recognizing that the underlying causes of this behavior may stem from past traumas, insecurities, or a lack of healthy coping mechanisms. However, empathy should not be mistaken for enabling. It's essential to recognize the detrimental impact this behavior can have on your own mental and emotional well-being. A Stoic approach encourages us to be both compassionate and discerning. We can offer support and understanding to our partners, but we must also protect ourselves from being drawn into their chaotic patterns. This requires setting clear boundaries, communicating our needs effectively, and being willing to walk away if the relationship becomes consistently draining or damaging. One of the key dangers of being in a relationship with someone who thrives on drama is that it can normalize unhealthy behavior. You may begin to accept the constant conflict and emotional instability as normal, even if it's deeply detrimental to your well-being. This is where the Stoic principle of self-awareness becomes particularly important. Regularly reflect on your own emotional state and ask yourself whether the relationship is contributing to your happiness and growth. Are you feeling drained, anxious, or constantly on edge? If so, it may be a sign that the relationship is not serving your best interests. Furthermore, a Stoic perspective encourages us to focus on what we can control. We cannot change our partners or force them to adopt healthier behaviors. However, we can control our own reactions, our own boundaries, and our own choices. This empowers us to take responsibility for our own well-being and to create relationships that are based on mutual respect, understanding, and emotional stability. This isn't about creating division, but rather about recognizing the need for self-respect and boundaries. Sign 2. The inability to take responsibility, the victim mentality. Picture this scenario. You're in a relationship that seems to be progressing smoothly, but then a conflict arises. It could be a minor disagreement or a more significant issue, such as a breakdown in communication. Instead of engaging in open and honest dialogue to resolve the problem, your partner immediately deflects blame, resorting to phrases like, "It's not my fault," or "You should have known better." The video rightly points out the frustration that arises from dealing with someone who consistently avoids accountability. It's as if you're constantly navigating a minefield, knowing that any attempt to address a problem will be met with resistance and denial. This inability to take responsibility is often rooted in a victim mentality, a pervasive belief that one is powerless and at the mercy of external forces. Individuals with this mindset tend to externalize blame, attributing their problems to other people, circumstances, or even bad luck. They struggle to acknowledge their own role in the situation and resist taking ownership of their actions and their consequences. The video touches on the fact that they will blame their parents, their ex-employer, or even you. The consequences of this behavior can be devastating to a relationship. It creates a climate of resentment, mistrust, and stagnation. When one partner consistently refuses to take responsibility, it becomes impossible to address problems effectively or to move forward in a healthy way. The other partner is left feeling invalidated, unheard, and ultimately responsible for carrying the entire weight of the relationship. This can lead to burnout, resentment, and a gradual erosion of intimacy. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for overcoming this destructive pattern. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, wisely stated, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." This quote highlights the importance of taking responsibility for our own thoughts, feelings, and actions, regardless of external circumstances. A Stoic approach encourages us to view challenges as opportunities for growth and to learn from our mistakes, rather than dwelling on them or blaming others. Furthermore, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and acceptance. Recognizing our own flaws and shortcomings is the first step towards personal growth and taking responsibility for our actions. A wise individual, guided by Stoic principles, understands that mistakes are inevitable and that the key to a fulfilling life is not avoiding errors, but finding ways to learn from them and to move forward with greater wisdom and resilience. The inability to take responsibility is not merely a character flaw. It's a deeply ingrained pattern of behavior that often stems from underlying insecurities, traumas, or a lack of healthy coping mechanisms. While it's important to approach this issue with empathy and understanding, it's equally crucial to recognize the detrimental impact it can have on your own well-being. Being in a relationship with someone who consistently avoids accountability can be incredibly draining and frustrating. You may find yourself constantly making excuses for their behavior, taking on their responsibilities, or feeling like you're walking on eggshells to avoid triggering their defensiveness. This can lead to feelings of resentment, exhaustion, and a gradual erosion of your own sense of self-worth. A Stoic approach encourages you to set healthy boundaries and to communicate your needs clearly and assertively. It's important to let your partner know that you value honesty, accountability, and a willingness to work together to resolve problems. If they consistently refuse to take responsibility for their actions, it may be a sign that the relationship is not serving your best interests. Furthermore, a Stoic perspective reminds us that we cannot change other people. We can offer support, encouragement, and guidance, but ultimately, it's up to each individual to take responsibility for their own growth and development. If your partner is unwilling to acknowledge their flaws or to work towards improving their behavior, it may be necessary to accept that the relationship is not sustainable. This can be a difficult and painful realization, But it's important to prioritize your own well-being and to create relationships that are based on mutual respect, honesty, and accountability. Remember that having an accountability partner is fundamental to every healthy relationship. Responsibility is a strength, not a weakness. A strong woman owns up to her mistakes, says she's sorry, and works to improve for the future. Sign 3. Valuing materialism over character, the pursuit of empty treasures. Imagine finding yourself in a relationship where your partner seems more preoccupied with what you can provide materially than with who you are as a person. Initially, the gestures of spoiling her with gifts, taking her on luxurious outings, and showering her with attention might seem appealing, even romantic. However, as the initial glow fades, a disconcerting realization dawns. Beneath the surface of expensive presents and lavish experiences lies a void, a lack of genuine emotional connection, and a shallow understanding of your true self. As the video points out, you start to realize there wasn't much left after the expensive presents, lavish meals, and excursions. This is a red flag. This pattern reveals a deeper issue, a prioritization of materialism over character. In such relationships, material possessions and external validation become the primary focus, overshadowing the importance of genuine connection, shared values, and personal growth. You might believe these are just high expectations, telling yourself she just has good taste or she deserves nice things, but deep down you know you're still not good enough no matter how much you provide. She'll always find something bigger, better, or more expensive to request, and the worst part is she's never satisfied. The consequences of this imbalance can be profound. It creates a transactional dynamic where love and affection are contingent upon material offerings. The relationship becomes a constant pursuit of more, with no real satisfaction or contentment. The partner who values materialism may become demanding, entitled, and perpetually dissatisfied, always seeking the next bigger, better, or more expensive item or experience. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, resentment, and a gradual erosion of intimacy. Stoicism offers a powerful counterpoint to this materialistic mindset. The Stoics believe that true happiness and fulfillment come not from external possessions, but from inner virtue and a life lived in accordance with reason. As the video emphasizes, the Stoics believe that happiness is an inward condition, not something that can be bought. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Seneca famously wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This quote highlights the futility of chasing material wealth as a source of happiness and the importance of cultivating contentment with what we already have. A wise individual, guided by Stoic principles, understands that love is more important than material goods. They value loyalty, emotional connection, and character more than possessions or fancy trips. They seek partners who share these values and who are committed to building a relationship based on mutual respect, trust, and genuine affection. The pursuit of materialism is not inherently wrong, but when it becomes the defining characteristic of a relationship, it can be deeply problematic. It's important to recognize that material possessions are fleeting and ultimately incapable of providing lasting happiness or fulfillment. A Stoic perspective encourages us to focus on cultivating inner virtue, such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These qualities are enduring and provide a solid foundation for a meaningful and fulfilling life. If you find yourself in a relationship where your worth is primarily judged by your ability to provide material possessions, it's crucial to reassess your priorities and to communicate your needs clearly and assertively. Let your partner know that you value genuine connection, shared experiences, and personal growth more than material wealth. If they are unable to understand or respect these values, it may be a sign that the relationship is not serving your best interests. Furthermore, a Stoic approach reminds us that true love is unconditional. It's not based on what we can give or receive materially, but on who we are as people. A healthy relationship is one where both partners feel valued, respected, and loved for their inner qualities, not for their external possessions. If you're with a woman who values integrity more than wealth, your efforts will be much appreciated. Remember that the most valuable things in life, love, friendship, family, and personal growth, cannot be bought or sold. They are earned through genuine connection, shared experiences, and a commitment to living a virtuous life. Sign 4. Constantly seeking validation, the empty vessel. Consider this scenario. You're in a relationship where your partner consistently seeks external validation. Perhaps she constantly fishes for compliments, seeking reassurance about her appearance, her accomplishments, or her worth. Or maybe she's excessively active on social media, posting photos and updates in the hopes of receiving likes, comments, and attention. As the video highlights, you told her clothing was beautiful, and now she wants another compliment. On the other hand, she's always posting to her social media sites, hoping to receive validation through comments and likes. It might be charming and appealing at first, but deep down you know it's exhausting. This constant need for validation reveals a deeper issue, a lack of self-esteem and a dependence on external sources for a sense of worth. Individuals who constantly seek validation often struggle with feelings of insecurity, self-doubt, and inadequacy. They may have difficulty accepting themselves as they are and may rely on the approval of others to feel good about themselves. The video also emphasizes that a woman with low self-esteem will never stop seeking affirmation. She's looking for fulfillment elsewhere to meet her own wants. The consequences of this behavior can be detrimental to a relationship. It creates a dynamic where one partner is constantly seeking reassurance and the other partner is constantly providing it. This can be exhausting and unsustainable, as the need for validation is never truly satisfied. The partner seeking validation may become overly dependent on their partner's approval, leading to feelings of anxiety, insecurity, and possessiveness. The other partner may feel pressured, drained, and resentful, as they are constantly expected to provide reassurance and support. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this cycle of validation seeking. The Stoics believe that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external sources. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." This quote highlights the importance of self-acceptance and the dangers of relying on the opinions of others for our sense of worth. A wise individual, guided by Stoic principles, cultivates self-esteem and self-reliance. They understand that their value is inherent and does not depend on the approval of others. They focus on developing their inner qualities, such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and strive to live a life that is aligned with their values. The need for validation is a common human experience, but when it becomes excessive and consuming, it can be deeply problematic. It's important to recognize that true self-esteem comes from within, not from external sources. A Stoic perspective encourages us to focus on cultivating self-acceptance, self-compassion, and a strong sense of inner worth. This involves challenging negative self-talk, focusing on our strengths, and celebrating our accomplishments. If you find yourself in a relationship where your partner constantly seeks validation, it's crucial to communicate your needs clearly and assertively. Let your partner know that you value their individuality and their ability to make their own decisions. Encourage them to develop their own sense of self-worth and to rely less on the opinions of others. Furthermore, a Stoic approach reminds us that we are not responsible for other people's happiness or self-esteem. We can offer support, encouragement, and guidance, but ultimately, it's up to each individual to cultivate their own sense of inner worth. A confident woman doesn't need constant validation. She knows her worth and the love you give her, even if you don't tell her all the time. If your partner is unwilling to address their underlying insecurities or to work towards developing greater self-esteem, it may be necessary to accept that the relationship is not sustainable. It is something you've encountered. She might have said you didn't message her enough, didn't post enough compliments about her online, or didn't do enough to make her feel special. But the truth is, true love doesn't require approval all the time. Remember that the most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself. Prioritize your own well-being. Cultivate your own inner worth, and seek out relationships that are based on mutual respect, acceptance, and genuine connection. Sign 5. Inability to handle criticism, the fragile ego. Consider the delicate dance of communication in a relationship. You carefully choose your words, intending to offer constructive feedback or a helpful suggestion. However, instead of a thoughtful discussion, you're met with defensiveness, anger, or even resentment. The video highlights the frustration of feeling like you're walking on eggshells, trying to avoid triggering an unnecessary emotional reaction. You might offer a simple suggestion like, hey, maybe we should try eating healthier, but instead of a thoughtful conversation, you're met with defensiveness, anger, or even resentment. This inability to handle criticism reveals a deeper issue, a fragile ego and a fear of inadequacy. Individuals who struggle with criticism often perceive it as a personal attack, rather than an opportunity for growth and improvement. They may have difficulty separating their identity from their actions and may interpret any negative feedback as a reflection of their worth. The video touches on the fact that for some women, criticism, no matter how constructive or positive, feels like an attack. Even when your intent is simply to offer a helpful suggestion, it could trigger a reaction of hostility. The consequences of this behavior can be damaging to a relationship. It creates a climate of fear, where one partner is afraid to express their thoughts or feelings honestly for fear of triggering an emotional outburst. It also stems from a fear of failure, inadequacy, or a lack of emotional resilience. This stifles open communication and prevents the couple from addressing problems effectively. The partner who cannot handle criticism may become defensive, argumentative, and unwilling to compromise. This can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and a gradual erosion of intimacy. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for overcoming this defensiveness. The Stoics believed that criticism, when offered with good intentions, is a valuable tool for self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or holding a wrong opinion, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after, and the truth never harmed anyone." This quote highlights the importance of humility and the willingness to learn from our mistakes. A wise individual, guided by Stoic principles, welcomes constructive criticism as an opportunity to grow and improve. They understand that criticism is not a personal attack, but rather a chance to refine their understanding and to align their actions with their values. The ability to handle criticism gracefully is a sign of emotional maturity and self-awareness. It requires a willingness to acknowledge our flaws, to learn from our mistakes, and to strive for continuous improvement. A Stoic perspective encourages us to cultivate a growth mindset, viewing challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and development. This means that instead of processing the information, reflecting on it, and using it as an opportunity to grow, the response is immediate and emotional. The words may not even be heard properly, and instead, they're filtered through a lens of defensiveness, as if the criticism were a personal insult. If you find yourself in a relationship where your partner consistently reacts defensively to criticism, it's crucial to communicate your needs clearly and assertively. Let your partner know that you value honesty and open communication, and that you're offering feedback with the intention of helping them grow and improve. Encourage them to practice active listening, to try to understand your perspective, and to respond with curiosity rather than defensiveness. Furthermore, a Stoic approach reminds us that we are not responsible for other people's emotional reactions. We can offer our feedback with kindness and respect, but ultimately, it's up to each individual to choose how they will respond. When someone cannot tolerate criticism, they become emotionally reactive, unable to separate their identity from the feedback they're receiving. What might seem like an opportunity for growth becomes a trigger for defensiveness. If your partner is unwilling to work towards developing greater emotional resilience and openness to feedback, it may be necessary to accept that the relationship is not sustainable. This creates an environment where honesty is stifled because one partner feels attacked or invalidated at every turn. Remember that healthy relationships are built on trust, honesty, and a willingness to grow together. Seek out partners who value these qualities and who are committed to creating a safe and supportive space for open communication. Sign 6. Excessive emotional reactivity, the unpredictable storm. Imagine walking on eggshells in your relationship, constantly wary that a single misspoken word might trigger an emotional outburst. The video emphasizes the tension of feeling like you're constantly adjusting yourself to avoid causing an emotional outburst. You might share a simple observation like, "I had a long day at work," and suddenly find yourself in the midst of a heated argument. This is the reality of being with someone who is emotionally reactive, where even the smallest comment can trigger an intense emotional response. This excessive emotional reactivity reveals a deeper issue: a lack of emotional regulation and an inability to manage one's feelings in a healthy way. Individuals who are emotionally reactive often experience intense and unpredictable emotional shifts, reacting impulsively to perceived slights or stressors. Being emotionally reactive means that she lacks control over her emotions. Instead of pausing to reflect, she reacts impulsively. Her feelings take over, causing her to act in ways that are unpredictable and unstable. The consequences of this behavior can be detrimental to a relationship. It creates a climate of instability, anxiety, and fear. The partner who is emotionally reactive may become unpredictable, volatile, and difficult to communicate with. This constant emotional fluctuation can be draining, leaving you unsure when the next emotional storm will come. Living with someone who reacts emotionally to everything can create a tense environment. You might feel like you're constantly adjusting yourself to avoid causing an emotional outburst. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for cultivating emotional stability and self-regulation. The Stoics believe that our emotions are not inherently good or bad, but rather, they are responses to our judgments and perceptions. Epictetus famously wrote, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." This quote highlights the importance of examining our thoughts and beliefs and of challenging those that lead to negative emotions. A wise individual, guided by Stoic principles, cultivates emotional awareness and self-control. They learn to recognize their emotional triggers, to pause before reacting, and to choose their responses consciously and deliberately. Emotional reactivity is not merely a personality trait. It's a pattern of behavior that can be learned and unlearned. It's important to approach this issue with empathy, recognizing that the underlying causes of emotional reactivity may stem from past traumas, insecurities, or a lack of healthy coping mechanisms. However, empathy should not be mistaken for enabling. It's essential to recognize the detrimental impact this behavior can have on your own well-being and on the health of the relationship. A relationship should be a space where both partners feel secure enough to be vulnerable, but when emotional reactions overshadow logic, it's hard to build that kind of trust. The relationship becomes unpredictable, leaving you unsure of where you stand. If you find yourself in a relationship where your partner is excessively emotionally reactive, it's crucial to communicate your needs clearly and assertively. It becomes difficult to have honest conversations because every attempt to express yourself could be met with defensiveness or anger. Let your partner know that you value calm and rational communication and that you need them to be able to regulate their emotions in order to have a healthy and productive conversation. Encourage them to seek professional help, such as therapy or counseling, to address the underlying causes of their emotional reactivity. Furthermore, a Stoic approach reminds us that we are not responsible for other people's emotions. We can offer support, understanding, and compassion, but ultimately, it's up to each individual to take responsibility for their own emotional well-being. If your partner is unwilling to work towards developing greater emotional stability and self-regulation, it may be necessary to accept that the relationship is not sustainable. Emotional stability and self-regulation are key to maintaining a strong, lasting connection. Without them, it's nearly impossible to grow together as partners. Remember that healthy relationships are built on trust, respect, and a shared commitment to emotional growth. Seek out partners who value these qualities and who are willing to work together to create a safe and supportive space for emotional expression. Conclusion: embracing wisdom and cultivating Stoic relationships. In conclusion, recognizing these 6 signs, thriving on drama, inability to take responsibility, valuing materialism over character, constantly seeking validation, inability to handle criticism, and excessive emotional reactivity, is not about judging others, but about protecting your own peace of mind and making wiser choices in your relationships. It's about cultivating a discerning eye, guided by the wisdom of Stoicism, to navigate the complexities of human connection. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By staying focused, staying wise, and making decisions that align with your Stoic values, you can create relationships that are built on a foundation of trust, respect, and genuine affection. Remember, a Stoic approach to love is not about suppressing emotions or becoming emotionally detached. It's about cultivating emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a commitment to living a virtuous life. It's about seeking partners who share these values and who are willing to work together to create a relationship that fosters growth, understanding, and lasting happiness. It is important to remember that everyone is a work in progress. No one is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes. The key is to be aware of these potential pitfalls and to approach relationships with a willingness to learn, grow, and adapt. By embracing the wisdom of Stoicism and cultivating a discerning eye, you can navigate the labyrinth of love with greater confidence, clarity, and resilience. Stay focused, stay wise, and continue striving for growth, both individually and within your relationships. By taking these steps, you can create a life filled with meaningful connections, lasting happiness, and a profound sense of inner peace. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more life-changing insights. Keep striving for growth, Stoic monarchs. Key takeaways: a Stoic summary for lasting relationships. To solidify your understanding and provide a practical guide for future interactions, here's a summary of the key takeaways, framed through a Stoic lens. Self-awareness is paramount. Before evaluating potential partners, honestly assess your own values, needs, and emotional patterns. Understanding yourself is the first step towards building healthy relationships. Seek virtue, not perfection. Don't search for an idealized partner. Instead, prioritize qualities like honesty, integrity, empathy, and a commitment to personal growth. Embrace reason and emotional regulation. Cultivate the ability to manage your emotions, to respond calmly to challenging situations, and to communicate your needs effectively. Value inner worth over external validation. Resist the temptation to seek validation from others. Develop a strong sense of self-worth based on your inner qualities and your commitment to living a virtuous life. Welcome constructive criticism. View criticism as an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. Be open to feedback and willing to learn from your mistakes. Set healthy boundaries. Protect your emotional well-being by setting clear boundaries and communicating your needs assertively. Be willing to walk away from relationships that are consistently draining or damaging. Focus on what you can control. You cannot change other people. Focus on controlling your own thoughts, actions, and reactions. Prioritize peace over drama. Seek relationships that foster stability, understanding, and mutual respect. Avoid those that are characterized by constant conflict, emotional volatility, and a lack of accountability. Embrace the present moment. Focus on building a strong and meaningful connection in the present, rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Live in accordance with your values. Make decisions that align with your Stoic values, such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This will lead to a life filled with purpose, meaning, and lasting happiness. By internalizing these key takeaways and applying them consistently in your life, you can cultivate relationships that are not only fulfilling but also contribute to your overall well-being and personal growth.